Seahawks, and thank you for joining us for another Student Live. As always, if you have any questions or comments, just feel free to drop them right down below. And if you can, go ahead and take a minute to share this stream with someone in your social network who you feel could benefit from today's topic. So I'm sad to say, today we are closing out our Live Your Values series, which we have had such an awesome time going through the past few months. We are actually going to be highlighting the final core value of the college and introducing you all to some amazing members of our management team. Today, I actually have several special guests with me to talk about this last value of lifelong learning. So let's get to know them.
Hi everyone, Julia Filial here. I have the absolute honor of serving as the Associate Vice President for the Center for Teaching Excellence and Learning. That's a lot of words to say that I have the joy of hosting, facilitating, evaluating, assessing, everything to do about professional development. So when Stephanie reached out and said, Julia, would you like to be part of this Live Your Value for lifelong learning? I said, of course, it's what I do every day. So I am so happy to be here with all of you. I have been at Broward College for almost 17 years, which just blows my mind. This is an amazing institution. I feel honored to be part of this Broward College community. And I've been in this particular role working in professional development for almost 3 years. We have an incredible team over in professional development. We call the department CTEL. So you might hear me say that throughout the course of today. And I look forward to talking to you about what my team is able to do. And right now I'm going to punt it over to one of my awesome team members, Misha.
My name is Misha, and I'm not only an administrative assistant here at CTEL, but I'm also a student here at Broward College. At CTEL, I provide support to everyone in the department. And as a Broward College student, I am majoring in information technology with a specialization in spatial computing.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Donovan. I'm the Central Campus President and the Vice Provost of Teaching Excellence and Learning. I have the honor, as Dr. Filial described, of serving a wonderful community of faculty and students from the Central Campus, as well as all the libraries, the academic success centers, and some of the support functions on the campus and around the community. I have the joy of working with economic development agencies, speaking about the wonderful programs and students and the great culture that is Seahawk Nation.
Yes, and we are so excited to have all three of you with us today to talk about this incredible value of lifelong learning and to close out this beautiful 6-part series. But before we jump into that, just wanted to ask you all, it's been a while, how is 2021 treating you?
Stephanie, I'll go ahead and start. 2021 has been honestly an amazing year thus far. My husband and I purchased a Peloton, so I've been committed a couple times a week to that 30 minutes, because that's all I can handle on that thing. 30 minutes of time for myself to really just reflect and be healthier. And I'm happy to say it's been over a year since I've seen my parents because of the situation we've been in. They live in Pennsylvania, but the light at the end of the tunnel is I can see it. They've been fully vaccinated. I'm on my way of getting vaccinated, and I know on May 13th, not that I'm counting down, I will get to be able to hug my parents, and I'm beyond excited for that.
And for me, 2021 has been pretty great so far as compared to 2020. I've been more connected with my family. I've been talking to my mom more often. And I've been playing a lot more Animal Crossing. So my town is looking great.
2021 has been an interesting ride, right? The pros and the cons. One of the things that I think we're all learning to adjust to is a bit more isolation. I have a couple of bad habits. One are vests. I love vests, so I've increased my vest collection. And the other weird one is string instruments. I buy strange string instruments and try to learn them. My latest of which is a shovel guitar. It's literally a shovel that's been turned into a blues instrument. So it's given me a little more time to annoy my dogs and to probably annoy my neighbors too. But the shovel guitar has been one of those unexpected pleasures.
That's so awesome. Well, it sounds like all three of you have been keeping busy in some regard. Mine's a little bit closer, I feel like, to what Misha and Julia have been doing. So Dr. Donovan, you're definitely the only one of the four of us on the call that has done anything, I think, in the musical realm. So we're wishing you the best of luck with that.
Thank you.
Yes, you are very welcome. But I know today we're going to be focusing on this amazing core value of lifelong learning. And I think probably one of the most relevant values that the college has for our student population. So I'm curious, in terms of kicking us off of this conversation, when you hear those words, lifelong learning, what resonates with you?
You know, the piece that jumps out to me, Stephanie, is that this is the new assumption. In the old economy, we used to pursue credentials with the expectation that, hey, when I finish this is the quality of life that it's going to give me. This is the profession or the field I'm going to go into. And, you know, in the even older world, it was pretty much the field you stayed in. Today, it's such an agile economy, right? Everything's constantly moving, new technologies, new combinations of finance and technology, new employment opportunities. So we really have to assume that, yeah, we will be learning throughout our whole lives so that we can continue to change as that economy adapts with us. And that's what Broward College wants to make sure that we're making those opportunities out there for multiple entry points, different links, everything. We'll talk a little bit today about brief badges toward full degrees. It really has a lot to do with making sure that we're giving you upward economic mobility while giving you an opportunity to explore other ways of enjoying your life, right? So lifelong learning is something that, as we look at the coming decades and the next generations moving from the millennials to the alpha generation, you will constantly learn, and there's a great joy in that, and that's the pursuit.
To me, the term lifelong learning really just means you're learning everywhere you go. Even after you graduate college, after you graduate high school, after you make that final education goal, you're still going to be learning once you enter the workforce. When you exit the workforce as well, you're also going to be learning. As a student, you're learning. As a teacher, you're learning. Here at CTEL, I'm always seeing that professors, they're always learning something new for professional development. That's just a part of lifelong learning. And as a student in the degree of spatial computing, that is a field that is it's just new territory. Spatial computing is new territory. It delves into augmented reality and virtual reality. And there's just so much ground to cover when it comes to that field. So even as I'm learning all of those new technologies in my time here at Broward College, I'm still going to be having to learn whatever comes out in the next 2, 5, 10 years. So there's always going to be learning.
I totally agree with you, Misha. And I think you make such a relevant point because your program lends itself to that type of a learning environment. And most students, like I said, regardless of their industry or their career path, like they know that right now, like they're designated to learn. But I think Dr. Donovan, what I love too is to your point, like learning shouldn't be a process that ends. It should continue on, right? And so I think it's interesting because Julia, really, truly, to me, you and your team are at the forefront of that for the college. We have a whole department that's designated to learning. And if 2020 taught us anything, and now moving into 2021, is that we need to continue to pivot and learn and adapt. So from your perspective, how would you say that your role, or really by extension your team even, that they support this value of lifelong learning?
Stephanie, thank you. As I mentioned, I was so excited to be part of this particular value because it is what we live every day. First, what I want to say is Broward College has shown a commitment to lifelong learning. It's not just a value statement we have. By the mere fact that we have a Center for Teaching Excellence and Learning, and resources, both human and financial, have been put into the continued development and learning of our faculty and staff, who then in turn are supporting our students, speaks volumes to what is important to Broward College. So as Stephanie, you mentioned, this year has taught us so many things. And I do just want to give credit right now. This past year, between March 2020 and March 2021, over 2,000 employees who work at Broward College, whether that's a faculty member, a staff member, or administrators. Over 2,000 individuals have engaged in professional development and learning. And that's because we were thrown a curveball. Many of us had to learn new things. But it's also an indication that our faculty, our staff, the employees that work at Broward College that are here to support you students, we are committed to trying new things. We're committed to learning new things. The learning does not end when you earn a degree. There's opportunities for informal education. There's opportunities for self-directed learning, whether it be podcasts. I'm a huge fan of podcasts. I love to listen to them. It's one of the things that I miss about driving, because that's usually when I would be listening to my podcasts. There's books. Dr. Donovan knows I have a slew of books. I have a whole cart full in Amazon and other bookstores that I buy from of books that I want to purchase. So whether it's books, articles, podcasts, TED Talks, there's so many different ways that you can engage in content now that we're in 2021, that there's really no excuse to continue to learn. There's new things, as Misha talked about, spatial computing, everything that we do from a engagement standpoint, a civic engagement standpoint, there's so much material and information out there where we can learn that is both formal, what you're all doing now with pursuing your degrees and your certifications, as well as informal in different ways to get involved. So the CTEL team, and there are 10 of us in total, full-time that work in CTEL, and then we have amazing faculty coordinators that we work with that also help to facilitate our sessions. We every day think, and again, Dr. Donovan and Misha being a team member know this, we sit around and think about what can we do next? What can we do different? How can we better serve our colleagues? How creative can we be? How can we meet individuals where they are and where they want to go? And we really see it as a very personal journey as well. While we're learning collectively, we're also being able to enhance our own personal growth as well as our professional growth. Where I am in the field in which I am right now as an AVP, there's certain tools I need to know. There's certain skills I need to know. You know, I might aspire to be where Dr. Donovan is one day as a campus president or a vice provost, and I need to be able to prepare myself to have those skills. And that's all part of lifelong learning. So that's how we embody it every day, Stephanie, is by having this amazing team who's always willing to innovate and be creative. And then we have an amazing collection of faculty and staff that are always engaging in different ways that they can learn, whether it's improving in their discipline, whether it's improving in their communication skills, their leadership skills, having a better understanding of what's going on in the world in terms of social justice and racial equity, economic mobility, as Dr. Donovan mentioned, workforce education trends that are happening and ways that we can stay ahead of the curve and be proactive. Every day we show up and really we live this value every single day within CTEL and within all of our campuses and even out in the community, working with our community partners.
Absolutely. I think it goes back to the philosophy of continuous improvement, right? That like you should never slow down, you should never stop. Like what are the ways that you can continue to figure out how to grow and to your point, mobilize? And I think something that you said really stood out to me, which is like, I don't know how many colleges and universities have a department that is solely dedicated to that. Usually it's sprinkled in some capacity, if I can like explain it that way. So I think it is incredible that we have at our institution this whole team that says, you know what our mission and vision is? It's to make sure that the people who are part of this organization have these opportunities to continue to learn themselves when they're the ones providing learning. And so I think there are so many awesome examples that I've seen in my 7 years about how Broward College specifically embodies this value. But I'm curious across kind of both of your experiences, Julie and Dr. D, like what have you seen during your time at Broward that you see like lifelong learning is definitely it's a huge part of what we do here?
Sure, Stephanie, I'll start from a personal standpoint, and then I'll talk professionally. So as I mentioned, when I introduced myself, I've been at the college almost 17 years. August 2nd, 2004 was my first day at Broward. I even remember what I wore, which is strange. And I also remember the outfit my then boss, Donna Henderson, had on. It was I knew from the very beginning this was a special time. But I take us back to 2004 because when I stepped on this campus, I had a bachelor's degree. I now am proud to say I have a doctoral degree. And the reason why I say that is because Broward College has enabled me to continue my formal education and pursue a master's degree and a doctoral degree. And as Misha pointed out, your formal education is one way to keep that lifelong learning. But in addition, from a professional standpoint, I've also been given the opportunity to engage in different workshops that have really helped me kind of navigate what does it look like to live in Florida even. I'm not from Florida, I'm from Pennsylvania. So it was a way to get to better know Broward College, a way to get to know Broward County, a way to get to know of Florida is by participating in these workshops. And I can't help but say every year, my favorite day of the year next to graduation, because I love being there to cheer you all on, when you walk across that stage. My second favorite day of the year is what we call Professional Development Day. And it's a day that we have, again, where the college has said, we are stopping classes. So you can thank us later for not having class on that Friday in February. But the college has dedicated to a whole day of nothing but professional development and learning for our staff and our faculty. And it's just a really fun day. It's a day that's full of energy. It's a day where our faculty and our staff can share best practices. They can share what they've learned with their colleagues. And it's an opportunity really to kind of slow down and take a step back to reflect on where we are and where we want to go. And of course, the day always ends with ice cream. It's very important. Dr. D?
Yeah, well said, Dr. Filia. And, when we think about, Stephanie, how Broward College walks the walk, right? The walk of lifelong learning. We offer everything from very achievable credentials, rapid credentials, we call them. We have a program called Broward Up, where the unlimited potential of many of our underserved communities who have not been afforded equal access and historic opportunities to higher education. President Hale has been one of the greatest champions in our region and in the nation, really, in assuring that not only do we have access, but we have equity to that lifelong learning that's so important economically, right? If we're going to come out of those areas of poverty, as I did personally, as President Hale did, as so many people do, we're an open door institution. We're all about taking those learners, no matter where you are, from where you're at to where you want to be. You can come in and get a rapid credential and get a better job and a higher standard of living for your family. You can do that within literally a matter of weeks. And as you progress along that journey that Dr. Filia described, you may find that, hey, I want to learn more. I want to kind of add to what Broward College has started me on this particular journey. Or you can come back to us. Maybe you're a returning adult student and you stopped out and you didn't quite have the opportunity. I was reading a study today. The number one barrier to completing a college degree, believe it or not, it's not money. It's work-life fit. We have to try to fit college into what we're doing. Here, another example of how Broward College walks the walk. We have a great number of online courses. As we went into the pandemic, we preserved over 93% of our sections in the middle of one of the greatest crises and certainly our lifetime. And we came out of that with an 80% student success rate. Just phenomenal, Stephanie. So you see all across the map on this continuum for every individual in an open door institution to have an opportunity to continue that pursuit of lifelong learning that will lift them up economically and personally, right? The joy of life. I was talking about a crazy shovel guitar a moment ago. Well, that comes out of some music classes that I was able to take early on and find out, hey, I had a passion for this. So that exploration that's unique that higher education offers you, again, no matter where you at to no matter where you want to be, Broward College becomes the vehicle, your partner, your advocate. We're not just about a catalog and the courses and the pathways that we offer. We're about that individual personalized touch and helping you go through that journey and find that joy and find that upward lift.
I agree. And I think the open access piece is actually probably one of the most important things to point out, because you would hope, right, a two-year institution is there to serve its community. And so open access, I think, like by definition, should promote lifelong learning. It promotes learning, but lifelong learning being the goal. And so our students, like I said, they do definitely get exposed to the learning process. That's why they're enrolled in a degree program. But to kind of close us out, I'd love to hear from some of you about how you feel our student population can best embody this value, this huge value of lifelong learning. How does their journey never end?
So as a student at Broward College, I think students can best embody this value by staying engaged. You can stay engaged within your classroom and also outside of your classroom. At Broward College, there's so many clubs, there's so many events that you can go to that encourage lifelong learning. I'm in the InTech Club, and the things I learn in the class, what we do is we expand upon that, and we also touch base on things that you probably wouldn't learn in class. And I'm sure that in other clubs, it's the same way. You learn about things that you wouldn't learn in your class, or they expand upon something that goes beyond that.
Yeah, I agree, Misha. I say bring us your passion and we'll help you find even greater purpose. This is what we do in that open door pursuit. I have this little plaque on my desk. It may not show up well, but it basically says ancora imparo. And that's Italian for I am still learning. I keep this in the front of my desk, and I had a conversation earlier today with Terry O'Banion. He's one of the leaders in innovation in higher education. He's in his 80s. He's more passionate about his ideas and all of the things that he's still learning, right? So whether you're 18 or you're 80, you're part of the Broward College community. We're here to really take that interest, that innate ability. Everyone on this call has a gift, every one of you. And it's a joy to go through that journey of finding where that gift is. And it can change over a lifetime, right? You might want to dedicate 15 years to public service as a police officer and then shift over into teaching and then end as a consultant. That's that journey, that lifelong journey that we keep looping back to make sure, like Michelangelo knew so late in life, like Grandma Moses. But, you know, I have my 19-year-old daughter at the University of Central Florida. Those people that we move through university transfer or into our workforce programs that become leaders in industry and that start with that certificate or even that badge, it begins with that passion and it ends with a purpose. But the cool thing about it is it never ends, right? It's all part of what we do and part of the culture, and that student commitment to understanding that we're all students. Dr. Filial talked about our faculty constantly updating their professional development abilities. Our staff do the same thing. We create what's called a community of inquiry. We're always challenging and creating new ideas because, frankly, we want to make a better world. And we understood from the founding of this nation that requires an educated population, and the state's investment in that, your personal investment in that, all the personal things that we juggle in life. I love it that it's just a long journey, Stephanie, and it never ends. It never should end.
I totally agree. And I hope it doesn't. Like I said, for our students who are watching, I hope you take this awesome advice about what your learning journey should look like and how it should be something that's continuous. And again, that it does not have an end. So thank you so much to the three of you for spending time with us today and sharing some valuable life lessons, but also, like I said, really bringing to light that core value of lifelong learning and what it means to our institution and what hopefully it means to our students as well.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And as usual, thank you, Seahawks, for tuning in. If you are watching this episode on behalf of your student club or student organization, the keyword for today's program, no surprise, is the word learning. So be sure to write that down and be sure to check out the survey link in our description below so you can always give us feedback about our student lives. And we hope to see you all again next week. Have a great day. Bye.